Cars, we're going to change these spark plugs in this 2018 Ford F150. Let's get into it.
Okay, so today we have these NGK 6510 spark plugs. These are one step colder than the stock 2018 F150 Ecoboost. That'll allow us to allow it a little bit extra time, a little bit extra boost without having to worry about any sort of knock. So for our purposes today, we're going to be putting these at a 0.028 gap. So how you'll do that, we have our little gap checker here. And you'll put this, you'll insert it to this location, and you'll rotate it until it sticks. And you'll notice that this is actually closer to a 0.04 gap. So you want to get this a little bit tighter to where it locks around 0.028. And all we're going to do is maybe grab some pliers or press this up against something hard, and we'll push this down to close that gap up. So I'm just using this metal here, applying a little bit of force, and we'll just do this until we get it down closer to 0.028. So now that we have all the spark plugs set, we're going to be removing this cover here so we can get down to where the ignition coils are. This only has 10 millimeter nuts on there, and there's 2 of them. So we'll take our socket here, and we'll get that removed, and I'll show you how to remove this when we're finished. Alright, so we have our nuts removed here. So all we have to do is lift this up and pull this out, and that'll give us access to our engine. So now that we have the cover off, we're going to be removing these ignition coils. We have 3 on one side of the engine, 3 on the other. So we have one here, here, and the last one's in the back there. So first, we'll actually need to unsnap this. And then there's a bolt, or bolt on each one of these. So we'll unsnap it, and then we'll remove that. So on these clips, what you'll do is you'll pull them down. You'll actually apply some force to the back, and then this will slide right off. So we got the clip down, we'll pinch, and we'll pull, and it'll unsnap just like that. So we're going to do the exact same thing for these other ignition coils, and then we'll get back to you. So we have all of these unsnapped now. So we'll take our 8 millimeter socket, and we'll take this bolt out. And that'll be the only thing that's holding these ignition coils in. Make sure you don't lose your bolt. I usually do the last bit of it by hand. And you should be able to slide these right out. You may have to wiggle them just a little bit. And there we go. I'll take the rest of these out and we'll get back to you. So we have our old plugs out here. You can kind of tell how the engine's running by looking at the different colors. A lot of times if you see a lot of black on the ends, it's running rich. In this case, it's actually pretty good. It's not too black. You'll see a lot of black around this area, and up top if it's running too rich. And also it turns more of a white color. You'll see a white around the area here and a white around these edges if it's running too lean, and in that case, that can really damage the motor. So we have our new plugs here. In order to keep these from seizing up or getting stuck inside the engine, we'll take our little pack of anti-seize here, and we'll end up dropping a dot around the threads, and we'll spin this all the way around to get it nice and lubricated all the way around the plug, and then we'll reinsert these.
Alright, when you're reinstalling your plugs, you're going to want to make sure you take your spark plug and put it in until it clicks into your socket. That way it doesn't fall out and knock your gap out of alignment. And then we're going to come in here by hand and get it started. Once you get it snugged down by hand, you can put your socket on it. Let's get it. Alright, and then we're going to put our ratchet on. And we're going to only snug it down. Once you get it snugged, then just barely give it a tight. Do not over tighten your spark plugs into your block or your head,
especially if it's aluminum.
And there you go. That's installation. Now on your reinstallation of your coil pack and boot, make sure your spring is still in there. Do not put this back together if the spring is not in. Alright, and then we're going to put this back in the hole the same way you took it out. Line it back up, press it down, And then get your bolt, put your bolt back in the hole. I like to get the bolt started and getting some force pressed down on the coil itself before I break out my socket. We're going to put the coil wire back on, make sure it's lined up. Take our 8mm socket, get it pressed firm on this bolt itself, and then just snug it up. And do not over tighten again, because that's plastic. Alright, the cover goes back in the same way you pulled it out. You slide it down in the back, you push it down on your 2 studs, and then you put your nuts on top. After that, it's all set up, fire it up, make sure she runs good. Otherwise you got a wire mixed up. Quiet as a church mouse. Sounds good. Alright, that's how you change your spark plugs on a 2018 Ford F150 Ecoboost. Thanks for subscribing, like, share this video. We'll see y'all next time.